Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Knowledge and Relationships Live Talk. This is your boy M3, and I have Bro Clarence with me. How
What's
you
going
doing, Bro
on?
Clarence?
What's going
Nothing
on, sir?
much. Nothing much, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Blessed as always.
Great, great.
Be the
We'll give
shave.
you a round of applause, man, because tonight is your night. You know?
Right. All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Anyways, all right, Bro Clarence. Tonight is our live talk with you. And this is us getting to know the things that you do, um a little bit of your background. And I know you're pretty much a strong figure as far as like the YouTube community.
Oh,
And I know you try to bring positive and awareness into our group, so that's what we appreciate. But
right.
before we begin, I gotta bring in my co-host, as
Yes.
always, Mr. Best in the World 84.
What's going on? What's going on? Bro
Hey,
Clarence, Sean, and
what's
to
going
all
on?
your family. Much love.
Love, man.
Thank you, thank you. All right. Shouts to Be Easy, that dude. You
Be
Shout
easy.
out
know,
to
What's
Be
going on?
Easy.
salutes to you, my brother, for tuning in. And then Cars Car.
Car.
Okay, thank you for
What's going
tuning
on,
in
Car
as well
Car?
too. Appreciate you guys. All right. So, all right, bro Clarence.
Yes, sir.
The first question is, please tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm a reformed idiot. I was a piece of work out there. You know what I mean? A lot of people was, you know, they say that some of us on YouTube are a piece of work, but I was really a piece of work, man. You know what I mean? I was out there, bumping my head, trying to just insane, trying to make things happen that wasn't ever going to happen. You know what I mean? Until some serious men of God came into my life, man, and they just kind of nurtured me along until I finally was able to, accept that, just because I want things to go a certain way doesn't mean it's the right way to do things. And so they had to sit with me and teach me, this is right, this is not right. And you know what I mean? I had to be pretty much reformed. Even though, I was functioning, I was going to work every day and I was, taking care of my family and stuff like that. But, in my own head, I was still trying to make things that didn't make no sense happen. And
Mhm.
unfortunately for myself, I just ran into some good people, man, and they nurtured me along, and then now I'm just trying to pay that back. Um, do what they did for me,
Yeah.
for anybody who's out there wants it.
Okay, bro Clarence. That's a good story, man. Wait,
Yeah,
did you say unfortunately you ran into some good people? I just want to make sure. You said fortunately or unfortunately?
I said, fortunately,
Fortunately.
I
Okay,
ran into
okay.
some good people.
All right. I knew I heard wrong. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's probably me.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Um, so from that point on, okay, which this will lead to the number two question. You know, how those good people kind of led you into your social media journey.
What led to my social media journey?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I the best way I can describe it is when I first got involved with social media, I saw that so many people were giving out such bad information. I
Mm-hmm.
just felt like, man, I need to just, drop in. So, like all of us, right? We start out just in chats. We just start out in
Mm-hmm.
a chat, and then we say, man, how's this person got a channel? I know more than this person. This person is giving out way bad information. Let me start my own. If they can start a channel, let me start a channel. So that's what I did. I started a channel, and I started a channel, and then I let it go. I left YouTube for about 8 years, and then I came back, and then I got the channel I got now, and I really put way more into this channel than I did that other channel. I didn't really put that much into it, but this one I put a lot more into, and I just saw people giving out bad advice. I saw the people getting led in the wrong
Mm.
direction, and I just wanted to help out, man. Pretty much.
Okay. So now, okay, questions, right? So in comparisons to your first channel to now, okay, what was your first channel about?
Pretty much the same things, but it wasn't back then. We wasn't live streaming, so you just had to do everything was pre-recorded. So you just pre-recorded everything and did everything pre-recorded. So it was pretty much about the same topics, but
Mm.
now I can interact with everybody, with people that want to see what's going on. I can interact with them, or they want to talk to me. Like if you look at most of my live streams, I'm pretty much
Mm-hmm.
interacting with the people in the chat, as well as the people on the panel. So that is available now, and that wasn't available back then. But it's pretty much the same situation.
I get you. So that's why you came up, like, with your channel, Let's Talk the Better Black Life.
Yeah, yeah, because I felt like that's the one situation that people don't really want to talk about. You know what I mean? They want to just it's everybody's trying to get the money, and you can't talk about black people. It's usually one or two extremes. Either it's you got the you guys are being victims mentality, or you got the you know uh blackity 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 black side. So I just wanted to be a place where people could talk about these issues and not feel like they had to be on either extreme. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
that's why I came up
Okay.
and
When
help us be better. You know what I mean?
yeah. So I know, like, you'll encounter, like, people who who's very objective, you know, um, when it comes to like certain topics, um, that can help like enhance like growth within the community. So when you get those pushbacks, um, what ways do you find to respond better?
You mean as far as pushbacks towards trying to
Like,
make things better?
oh, say that last part.
I say, would you mean pushback towards like we talk about a situation and they don't want the solution, or how do you mean
Yeah,
pushback?
yeah, like basically, I'm just speaking like in general because I know you have a variety of topics that you discuss about. So
Right,
let's just say, for instance, what's trending right now is the Will and Jada situation,
right.
and maybe you have an opinion to why Will reacted the way how he reacted. You may be the type that might, you may be the type that might say, well, Will, you know, he went through a lot. Give some type of grace. Where other people will say, "No, man, forget Will. Right? He did this to himself. He's a beta male and blah blah blah. So we get those type of pushbacks from people who disagree with your comments or disagree with your opinions. How do you handle that?
I welcome it. I welcome it. Best
Mm-hmm.
brother. I welcome it.
Thank you.
Because one of the things I'm trying to teach is that every black person ain't gonna think the same way.
Mm-hmm.
We all gonna think different ways. Even your best friend ain't gonna agree with you all the time. Your wife ain't gonna agree with you all the time. So how do you handle that? You see, that's a lot of people miss that, right? They think,
Mm-hmm.
and especially our people, man, they feel like, hey, you got 100% be with me or you not with me. You know what I mean? You can't have no, there's no leeway. You know what I mean? And so you got to either be 100% or not. You ain't 100%. You my enemy. You know what I mean? And then you can't be like, hey, I agree with you with this, but I don't agree with you with that. You know what I mean? So what I try to do on my platform is not have an echo chamber. Me
Mm-hmm.
and Rico, we agree when we agree, we disagree when we disagree, and I got other panelists that come up there, and we disagree when we disagree, and we agree when we agree. Be Easy is one of them. He'll agree with me when he agrees with me. You don't when he don't. And but the thing about it is, we all try to respect each other and that's where um, it all comes together because the respect is there. Even though I don't agree with you and you don't agree with me, I respect
Hmm.
your opinion and you respect mine. We all good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. And before we get to the number three question,
Hold on, brother.
uh, no problem.
All right, well, whatever. Come on, let's do it.
Okay. So, can you tell us, like, okay, what days and times do you normally stream?
I normally stream on Sunday morning at about maybe 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and
Oh, okay.
that's the one that's consistent, always consistent. But if I can do it, I'll do it. I'll stream on a Tuesday, like I streamed this morning, and I'll stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And you know, I'll stream if I got time. Maybe on a Saturday if I got time, but usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But Sunday morning, I do. That's my main stream where I do the news. I do something about a news article. I'll do something about what I call a hit parade, where guys are, and women are, you know, uh, doing sex stuff to children. So you got to tell your,
Hmm.
I'm telling the people to watch your children just because you're taking them to soccer practice. Don't leave, right? Don't
Yeah.
leave. You stay there and watch what's going on. You know what I mean? And so I usually do the hit parade, and then I do like now I got this new segment called Rescue Black Boys, where
Mm.
I just go into the statistics about where black boys are at. You know,
Yeah.
they have the lowest math scores per race. Black
Hmm.
boys are the lowest. They have the lowest math scores by at fourth grade. They have the lowest math scores by eighth grade, and the gap just gets bigger and bigger. As far farther you go up in the grade, the bigger the gap gets for black boys. So we're trying to encourage black men to step in there and teach their boys. Just spend an hour a day with your boys with
Hmm.
math and science starting in the third grade. We do that. I do the Black History Minute where I just pick something at random about Black history and discuss that. And then I go into the job of the week where I go into these high paying jobs that you don't need to do 10 years of college to get this job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some of these jobs you can do like maybe 2 or 3 years of college and you can come out of there doing 100K or more. So that's on Sunday morning is the one that I
Oh,
do. That's really
yeah.
jam packed with a bunch of information. But like I said, if I can get it done, if I can get something in on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I usually do that too.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thanks, bro, Clarence.
Yes, sir.
Um, so for number three, oh, Mr. Best, you have something you want to
Uh,
say?
I have a question. So, bro, Clarence, you live in the LA area, right? If I'm
I,
not mistaken.
I do. Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think about just the state of black men in that area, just with the gang culture, everything else is going down. I mean, I even heard the governor says a state of emergency out there, and they were telling people, if you're not from here, don't come out here. 'Cause we can't assume we can't assume your safety. So, what do you think about the state of just LA and just how things are?
um, California is unique in this regard. Well, I don't know if how, but it is unique in my opinion because the prison system actually is the uh, precipitator of the gang culture out here. Usually it's the other way around. Most places the other way around. The gang culture on the street is usually runs the prison system, but in California it's the prison system that runs the gang culture out here. So that being said, a lot of things are exacerbated. A lot of stuff is exacerbated in the prison system, which spills on into the streets. It spills onto the streets. So as far as Los Angeles, it's like any other major city. You could come here, you won't have no problem if you don't go to places that you don't need to be, right? Come here and you just want
Mm,
to see the sights and see your family, you know. But if you're running around Nickerson Gardens
yeah, I'm
or
not doing that.
Imperial Courts at 12 o'clock at night,
Mm-mm,
trying to get somebody to help you find your way,
mm-mm.
you might run into some problems, man.
Yeah, they're gonna help you find something, all right.
Yeah,
And peace to Auntie JP. Good to see you.
they'll tell you
And bro,
step right this way. We got it.
we got all the things you need right here.
Yeah, but I mean, LA is like any other city, man. You know what I'm saying? As long as you mind your business and you don't be where you're not supposed to be, it's not gonna be a problem for you. At least in my opinion.
Mm,
Now, being black, if you hang out in the black areas, you gonna have to know you got to watch your colors. You got to watch your the way you talk. You know what I mean? So certain things you can't say, certain things you can't wear. If you from this area, if you from that area, so on and so forth, just like any other major city. So just got to watch
mm,
it. That's all. But most of them guys will recognize you if you're a civilian. They'll recognize
mm-hmm.
that, and they will. You know what I mean? It's just when people people try to push their luck and try to go places where they probably don't have no business going. That's
Doing too much, basically.
issues. That's when the issues gonna really you gonna have an issue.
So something like, let's say for instance, if I'm wearing like this red shirt and I'm
Right,
in LA, is
right.
that acceptable, or they just gonna look at, oh man, this man he must be a blood or
Nah,
what?
nah. Depend, you know what I'm saying? You got to go someplace where they heavy with that. You know what I'm saying? Now,
Mm.
now if you was running around
Go
Imperial
go.
Courts, if you run around Imperial Courts, you know, they might check you. Or down there in Compton, Kelly Park, or Mona Park, or Looters Park. Well, it depends on what park it is. So some of the parks are blood, some of the park are Crips. So I know Kelly Park is Crip, but I forget the other park because I haven't been to Compton in a while. But yeah, I mean, hanging out down there. So, but yeah, it just depends on where you go, brother. You could come
Yeah.
out here wearing that, and if you just in your hotel and you going to see the sights, you ain't got no issue. But if you want to go to a club or something, and you want to go to one of these clubs in the hood or something like that, it might be an issue for you.
Mm. Okay, okay. I mean, what that's good to know because most people, like, especially LA, um, it's a tourist type of area.
Right.
So you're gonna have all different kinds of people that's gonna be
Yeah.
walking around, with different colors.
Yeah.
Makes me kind of wonder if if a non-black person was dressed in like maybe all blue. I mean, let's say like you have like the checkered colors. Most of them
Yeah.
were like, the checkered blue and black or whatever, and he walking around in those type of areas, but it's just a tourist. That's just how they normally dress.
Yeah.
Well, most likely, do you think they'll get picked on, or do you
Uh,
think they'll leave them alone?
no, as long as they like in a tourist area or something, or they're cool. I mean, you know what I mean. I mean,
Hmm.
the most that may happen to them in a tourist area is getting robbed or something. But because of they flying colors, I don't
Yeah.
think so. Because you know what, most of those guys that's gangsters, at
Mhm.
least out here, most of the guys are they recognize when somebody's a civilian. They know that they don't get no points for pushing up on somebody that's a civilian. You know what I mean? They get their points pushing up on somebody who's about that life. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
if they running around pushing up on civilians, they looked at as a sucker. You know what I mean? So they don't usually like, oh, we're gonna just pick on civilians. Now the problem will come in is if you go to a place that they are known to frequent. Maybe they have a
Mhm.
bar or a club that they are known to frequent, and
Yeah.
you go in there, they may see that as disrespect in that situation. But like I said, those kind of places are way deep in the hood, and you know what I'm saying. You got to really work hard to put yourself in that situation out here.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying. As long as you don't, as long as you ain't hanging out with the wrong people, man, you should be okay, in my opinion.
Okay. Okay. Oh, all right. Good. All right. Let me start with the number three question.
Okay.
So, apart from the YouTube space, what are your interests and hobbies?
Um, I like math and science problems. I like reading, studying. Uh, trying to get a better understanding because I follow the Islamic faith, man, and well, I'm doing my best to follow it, and
Mm-hmm.
and so just working hard to try to get a better understanding. Just when I think I understand something, I find a
Yeah.
deeper meaning in there. You know what I mean? So I just keep following these rabbit holes, man. But I enjoy. I got a granddaughter, man, and I just love sitting with her and showing her love, man, and just providing that stability for her and her life and my family, and pretty much that's it, man. You know what I mean? I just and I love teaching, of course. I love to teach, but I taught, uh, you know, for a lot of years, for about maybe 8 years. I taught, so I would say more than that, probably about 10. I taught, so I enjoy doing that. I enjoy, giving knowledge to other people. So that's why I guess I'm trying to do it now. I'm trying to do it
Mm.
Oh,
now,
nice.
YouTube space.
I was
How?
going
Let
to
me ask
ask,
this.
like, if you were a
Oh, go
teacher.
ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Mr. Best.
So you said your faith is a big part of who you are and what you're doing. I see that
Absolutely.
um, in the Islamic faith. I feel like it really speaks to us as black men. I really feel like it speaks to us in a lot of different ways and it helps us. I feel like it helps a lot of brothers be disciplined. It helps them to change their life. It gives them structure. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Do you feel like based on that, do you feel like if we had more of a structure like that, that would actually change a lot of things that we have in our communities? You know what I mean? In the way that we go about things, if we just have more of that structure, you know.
Uh, yeah. I think uh, what we what we need more is a discipline because the structure is there. I mean, even the Christianity has structure. You know what I mean? But it just we just not applying the discipline to be about it. Not applying the discipline. You know what I mean? Because to if there's a structure there, you have to have everybody agree that this is how we're gonna do this, right? But us in the black community, I think, especially the brotherhood, it's like I was saying on this live stream on Sunday. Um, black boys, they start acting out in about the second or third grade, and the reason why they start doing that is because they uh they 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 get testosterone, heavy doses of testosterone early, a lot of times. And so, because they do that, they want to express this masculinity and they can't express it. And in the classroom, the only way they can express it is through disrupting the class, right? They got to rebel and push back on the teacher, right? That's why a lot of them gets just swept into special ed because they say, "Oh, this person is unteachable." But what's happening is they a lot of times, I'm not saying every time, but what's happening a lot of times is they're trying to express this masculinity. So to answer your question, it starts out when they're boys. By the time they get to 18, they've pushed back on everything structural in their life, right? They don't see it as valuable because they're so far behind in mathematics and science that they just say F it. They just say F it to this structure. And then and structure makes them feel stupid. So they don't want nothing to do with no authority, no structure, no authority. So then they just get on the street where they can do whatever they want to do. You know what I mean? And so that's unfortunate in
Mm,
this situation. So now when you come with a religion or
mhm,
a religion, this is the actual definition is just a way of life. When you come into give them a way of life where they have to now
mhm,
be discipline, exercise discipline, they don't want to do it. They've been living their life,
mm,
rolling on their own program. They don't really want it. So that's one of the problems that we have.
mm.
I hope I answered your question, man.
No, 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 no. You did. To my generation, we didn't really have the fathers in the home. I was born in the '80s, and kids born during that time, the fathers wasn't really there for whatever reasons.
Yeah,
Um, and now, our kids are almost grown. You know what I mean? So, um, and I think in your generation, you probably had two parents in the home more than likely. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Um, why do you think that shift happened where it was from having the two parents to only having one parent in the home? Like what changed? Within those generations.
One thing I think was the crack epidemic.
Mm,
Right behind that, um, the music of the '90s, where you had the Chronic, that kind of kicked it off. NWA kicked it off, but then the Chronic really kicked it off, where they um, they made promiscuity with the women a good thing, or they made that seem like it was okay. So
mm,
then you had artists follow that, like Lil Kim and what's the other one, Foxy Brown, and they
mm-hmm.
continued with this message where the women felt like to get the alpha men, they had to be promiscuous. Right
Mm,
now, on top of that, the feminist movement also at the same time is teaching you don't need men to have a family. You don't need a man
mm,
to have a family. Why? You can freeze your
mm,
eggs. You can go to a sperm bank. You can do all of this stuff without a man. You can have your
yeah.
job. You can have your children. You don't need no man around, right? Only thing you need a man for is, companionship whenever you want it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so all of these messages mixed in together, it was just a cocktail of disaster, man. And
Mm,
most of our women drank that cocktail, and they took it hook, line, and sinker. And so now
mm,
they turn around at 40, 49, 50 years old, and they realize, hey, wait a minute, I played myself out of the game. Because they
mm,
need to do mate selecting where they had the highest sexual market value, which is going to be probably between 20 and 25 years of age.
Mm.
That's when they're going to have typically their highest sexual market value, right? Meaning
mm-hmm.
a man will look at you visually and uh, desired you to have sex with you, and then from that, he may proceed to try to have something further with you, right? But you gotta get his attention first with your beauty appearance, with your sexual market value, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm,
a lot of our women wait until they, because of the feminist movement, told them to wait until they were 30 and 35 and 40 years old, when the sexual market value is a lot lower. Plus, Mr. B, you asked me, I'm gonna go into it. I'm gonna go into it, brother.
okay, okay, that's good.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So
This is why we're here.
when I was coming up, this is what you had to do if you wanted a woman, brother. You had to go, and I said this earlier today. What you had to do is you had to get dressed up. You had to go to a club. If you was a man, you had to go to a club, or you had to go to a party, or you had to go to a nightclub. I mean a bar or something. You had to go to some activity, some place to meet women, because the number of women was scarce, especially women that were, the kind of women you would try to think about wifing. They were very scarce, right?
Mm,
And so the access to women was a lot higher. In today's marketplace, women don't understand that the access to women is a lot lower. A dude can sit on his couch and just swipe. You don't have to get dressed up and go to a bar. You don't have to get dressed up and go to a club. You don't have to get dressed up and go to a party. You don't have to go nowhere. He can sit on his couch literally and set his whole week up with dates, right?
mm-hmm.
We couldn't do that in the 80s. We couldn't do that in the
Mm,
90s. We couldn't do that, right? Now, that on top of women being outnumbering men, the competition is so high. The competition for good men is so high, because so many women are not staying in relationships. Back in the 80s and the 70s and 60s, women stayed and tried to fight to keep these relationships going. They were really
mm,
trying to fight and keep them together. Now the women would just walk out of a relationship 10 years, 20 years, boom, I'm out of here, right? And they go on to the market, they
mm,
go out to the sexual marketplace, and they find out that, I don't have the same value that I had before. So
mm,
it's a bad situation, and especially us in the black community is bad because the men, the kind of men that they want to have companionship are far and few in between, right? So that's a problem that we having. Then another problem we having is the black men. We got so many black men that have children that are not actually actively involved in it, with what I call the Nick Cannon syndrome, right, or the Dwight Howard syndrome, where they're having all these babies all over the country, but they're not actually putting the time into these children, and it's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate. So they're not getting to see two people in the household and the yin and the yang and how that works. They're not seeing how two people, they might get mad at each other, but they come back together. You know what I mean?
Mm.
They don't understand how that works, and then they growing up, and then they take that into their adult lives. So it's a lot of different. It's a very complex issue, man. And unfortunately, we just have to take it one person at a time. Like me, I have to just teach my children. You have to. If we as men, we just take care of our own households, that'll cut down on a lot of stuff. Right there.
Mm.
Bro, Clarence, man, I have been taking notes while you were talking, you know, and you just helped me to open up at least like four questions in regards
Okay.
to this subject
All
because I
right.
want to dig deeper into this. Now, um, I know pretty much the whole goal basically is to find better solutions for the black, black lives.
Yes.
So here's the thing, right? So my first question is well, my first statement is like, okay, women that took bad advice from other women, okay, because it seems like they went left because they think that's how they're going to get that high value man or that man that they really want. So I guess in order for them to be a catch, they have to be promiscuous and kind of seek around through one man after another man after another man. And
Right.
so, um, but my question is, okay, if that's the case, um, although it may be bad advice, you know, of how we're seeing it as, because that's not what we're looking for. We're not looking for no promiscuous woman. But if the advice that's taken actually worked, because men are still running after them, they're still chasing after them. Is it more so like our fault? Because here's the thing, like from stories that I hear from other women that are promiscuous, or was, I guess, quote unquote, when they said when they was chasing after men or whatever in their own way, they said men wasn't coming after them. But then when they started following like other advices, from the women, and they started doing their own thing, and that's when the men started coming after them.
Okay.
So at some given point, it's like, well, we have the power to reverse whatever that we don't want, but we easily give into that. You
Yes.
know what I mean? Like there's
Yes.
no self control on our part. So are we more to blame than what the women are doing, than the ones that are giving them the bad advice?
Uh, yes. We as
Okay,
men are
okay.
more to blame, and here's why. So let me explain. Well, first, let me
Mm-hmm.
explain why women are promiscuous and they take that road because they don't see women that are not promiscuous and trying to live a righteous life. They don't get alpha male attention. Those type of
Mm.
women don't get that attention because
Mm.
that's the real thing that they're looking for is attention. Promiscuity is the vehicle they use to get the attention. Okay, so the
Mm.
promiscuity is the vehicle that's being used to get the attention. I want attention as a woman. She wants attention,
Mm.
right? That's innate in her because if you look at other animals in the animal kingdom, they have a season what they call heat, where they can attract
Mm.
men, they can attract males, right? So females innately want to be able to attract the opposite sex, right? They want that attention just for mate selection, or just they in a social construct like us. Now they want attention just to be validated as a person. They feel like if I don't have all this attention, I'm not a person. I'm not a high value person, right? It's unfortunate, but that's the situation we in, right? So they use promiscuity as the vehicle to attain the attention, right? Unfortunately, the side effect of promiscuity is you chip off a lot of your sexual market value because of the use and abuse. So by the time they get to 30, they look like they're 40, right? Or whatever, or their what do you call that? Their sexual areas are used and abused, right? So that's why I always tell guys, if you're going to marry a woman, you should have her do a cleanse. You should have her do a total cellular cleanse. She's never going to be a virgin again, but you can have her be a cellular virgin, but you can get all of the essence of other men out of her. So now you got a clean place to lay your seed, in my opinion.
How is that possible though? How do they do that?
Because they have, if you go to any vitamin store, or you go to a herb store, they have herbal cleanses that will clean them out. You're right. So it'll clean them out. You'll see their eyes get white again, and their skin will lighten up. They'll start shining. You'll see it, right? But that's something that if you, if you guys are also already married, you already, But I'm saying guys that are thinking about going into marriage, because you don't know where this woman has been. I mean, no woman's gonna tell you, "Hey, man, I wrote the whole football team." No woman's gonna tell you that, right? Yeah, I used to be the plaything for the basketball team, but no woman's gonna tell you that. So, and it's not our place to ask, right? So, I would not suggest to anybody ask, "Hey, what's your body count?" That's not a it's not a good
That's
question.
that. I mean, the action about the body count to me is pretty much pointless unless you're just trying to troll.
Right.
But you can kind of get a feel of if a woman's been ran through, or maybe your little thoughts. If you think a woman's been ran through by a whole bunch of guys. I like the part that you mentioned that sometimes it makes you look 10 years older than what you actually are.
Yeah.
Because I've seen women like if I compare my wife to someone else that's around her age, maybe a year younger or a year older, but you know that other woman has a huge track record, and you see, man, like you would think the woman is like in her 50s,
Yeah.
you know, just
I,
because you've been out, and when you pull up to the history, you don't even have to even question how many guys that she went through. Just question the lifestyle, the drinking, the partying out with other guys, maybe the smoking, you know, the way how you interact with certain people. So it's all about like your lifestyle and how you take care of yourself,
yeah.
which that's why people come with this thing that's called hitting the wall. The
Yeah.
problem is that people focus too much on the age aspect. They feel like, oh, by the time you get to your 30s, now you hit the wall, you know. But there's some people that are in their 40s and hasn't hit the wall yet. And the reason why they have not hit the wall yet is because they
Brother M3.
I think he froze.
He was just getting to the good part, man. Dog. He was just getting to the good part, Mr. P. Well, I will say this about the wall. Let me say this about the wall. The wall is real for both sexes, for men and women. I mean, the wall is just very farther off for men than it is for women. But uh, when I'm talking about hitting the wall, I'm talking about where a woman gets to the point where um, she she has put herself in a position where she now has to compete with younger models, younger women for the same men, and that's not good. It's hard for them, right? A lot of people especially the black women, man. I see it, and it's so sad because they bought this feminist thing hook, line, and sinker. Well, let me say this about feminism: it has some good points to it, right? They talked about personal safety for women in the public in the public and in the workplace, and then they talked about wage gaps and all that. That was a good
Mm-hmm.
part of it. That was a good part of feminism.
Mm.
Came to relationships, marriage and relationships, that's where feminism, the legs come out from under feminism. That's where the legs,
Mm-hmm.
because when they start giving the women um, guidance on how to be in a marriage, or really they tell women that the men are unnecessary for that situation. Therefore, your body count is irrelevant, right?
Mm.
They tell them, hey, your body count is irrelevant. A man should just want to be with you just because you got a vagina, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because you got a vagina doesn't mean that a man is going to be with you. Especially, like I said earlier today, it's a buyer's market out there. It's a buyer's market. There's so many women, and it's so little. It's so little of a barrier of access to women that it's a buyer's market. I see other women. See, this is the thing, man. Women of other nationalities in their college years, they focus on mate selection. They focus on a career, but they focus on the mate selection as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the sisterhood, a lot of times, because they're being told this feminist garbage, the garbage part of it, they say, "Oh, girl, you can wait till you 30. Go wait till you go freeze your eggs," and this is kind of foolishness, right?
Mm.
So they do that. Okay, so they miss. So the time where they should be being deliberate about mate selecting, they're not. So by the time they get to the mind frame where they want to get deliberate about mate selecting, guys don't take them seriously because they're so far out of the game. Guys don't take them seriously, and they sit around saying, "What happened? What's the problem? Where
Mm.
did all the good men go?" Good men are trying to get women in the prime childbearing years. That's what they're doing. They're trying to get women at their highest sexual market value when they're higher, with their childbearing years, or their best childbearing years, their best skin, their best appearance, and their best attitude. But unfortunately, the sisterhood, see, like I said, other women of other races, they go into college, they'll say, I want to marry a doctor. Let me go to the medical building and they have people that fake sicknesses so that they can diagnose, so the doctors can try to learn how to diagnose people, right? Or they fake like they on the operating table and stuff like that, right? These women will say, hey, let me go over there and do that. Why? Because they understand proximity. Proximity. You have to be close to the kind of man you want to get to. You got to be close to that man. How you gonna expect this man? You think these rich athletes are gonna come to Compton and Watts and Linwood? They're
Mm.
not coming down here, right? So you have to put yourself in the proximity. But the sisterhood has been told you're a princess, and especially the church has really done them wrong by saying, don't settle, just wait. Wait on God's unchanged, unwavering hand, right? Uh-uh. And white women are like, no. Oh, that's the law building? Oh, okay. I'll go sit on that jury, because you know why they're gonna sit on that pretend jury? Because they're scoping out the lawyers out there. They're scoping out the dudes that's gonna be lawyers, right? Very deliberate. Or they go into the engineering building and drop their books and pencils and stuff. They're very deliberate in what they do. But the sisterhood is out partying because they feel like I'm the prize. And unfortunately, they're having horrible results. And then what happens, Mr. B, is they're getting advice from guys like Kevin Samuel and other people that don't have successful relationships on their own, right? But you're getting advice from them.
Mm.
It's like it's upside down and inside out, man. And unfortunately, there's not a place where they can learn how to, how to do this stuff and be deliberate about mate selecting. They should be mates. Women should be mate selecting in their best years, right? That makes sense. They should be mate selecting between the ages of 20 and 25, maybe 27 if you push it. That's their best years for mate selecting. When I mean mate selecting, I mean trying to find a mate that they're going to be monogamous with for the rest of their life. if that's what they want to do, right?
Oh, wow. So okay, so let me ask you this. So now, with that being said, right?
Uh-huh.
Because I do see that there's like this red pill rage, this feminism rage.
Yeah.
Do you think that because eventually we're gonna have to come to a mutual stance, or people just gonna be alone and nobody want to be alone. So
Well, the men won't be alone.
what
The women will.
huh?
I said the men won't be alone. The women will.
Explain that. What do you mean by that?
I mean that at some point the men will get to the point where they'll understand that hey, being alone. See, like you got guys like Kevin Samuels. They're telling you, oh man, just keep. You can be alone as long as you want to. Or other guys. I don't want to name a whole bunch of content creators, but you have guys that's saying, oh, you can be alone. But what you're gonna end up doing, being all by yourself, you're gonna end up in a nursing home by yourself where nobody's gonna check on you. I seen that happen. So them guys are talking you into that situation, right? They talk about how women are gonna be with dogs and cats, but at least women will be living in their own house. Guys are gonna be because the way guys eat and drink, they're gonna be in a nursing home, right? And who's gonna be checking on them? Nobody, right? You didn't raise your children. You just was running around with the women. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But my point
Mm,
is on that. My point is that there's so many women. The amount of women, you don't even have to be a good guy anymore. Remember, there was a time you had to be a good guy to get women. You don't have to be a good person to get women. You don't have to be a productive guy to get women anymore. There's so many women outnumber men. At some places 16-1, some places 20-1. It's just women are outnumbering men. Female babies are
mm,
being born more than male babies, right?
mm,
There's just not enough men to go around. If you married every black woman now, you married all of those women, there'd still be probably twice that number of women still available to be married. You married every black man, available black man, it still be probably double or triple that number of available women still available, right? So that means it's a buyer's market. It's a buyer's market. You ever watch the show called Green Acres? You ever seen that show, Mr. B? Mr. B, can you hear me?
yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Have you ever
To the
watched the
last
show?
part.
Huh?
To the last part again. I'm sorry.
I said, have you ever watched a show called Green Acres?
Yes, I have. I've seen that.
Okay. Remember the guy that used to sell everything, Mr. Haney?
Mm,
He
mm-hmm.
was kind of a fat dude. He used to sell, everything. Mr. Douglas, he would sell every time he went into somebody, he was selling something off his truck, right? And that's how you
Mm,
got to hustle. He would hustle like that. But I'm saying in a buyer's market, the women have to hustle harder. Okay?
mm,
You can't sit back and say, I'm a princess, because everybody's a princess. That ain't gonna work now. Everybody's a princess, man. That
mm-hmm.
ain't gonna work. Now you got to hustle harder. Women, and I said this 2 years ago. Women gonna have to step to men now. They're gonna have to. The competition is
Mm,
too fierce for women, but women do not want to accept that, right? They're gonna say, "Hey, I'm waiting on God to bring me a man." Okay, you can wait on God to bring you a man, but he gonna bring you six of them, and they're gonna lower you down in the ground. You ain't gonna get no man. No, you have to. You need to be mate selecting in your best years of attraction. If not, you may have to mate select on a lower tier of men, and that's just the reality of that.
mm, mm. Yeah, I do see where the women do. There's more women than men. I do see how that affects the dating spaces.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and I feel like a lot of people have unrealistic expectations. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Where they believe that certain things should be a certain way, and it's like, well, no, that's not life. You know what I mean? Like this is how life really is, and this is how things should be. You know.
yeah.
So we got the number. What question am I on? We are on the number. Let me scroll down. I'm sorry. Okay, number 4 question.
Okay.
Should women be submissive to men?
Only if they're trying to mate select. If they're not trying to mate
Mm,
select, no. But if you're trying to mate select,
mm,
trying to find a mate to spend the rest of your life with, you're gonna have to submit. You're gonna have to submit. If
mm,
I just stay in a monogamous relationship with you. I said this before as well earlier. I said that femininity is the gift that God gave women to be able to bring out the dominant force in men. See, male female relationships are structured around the dominance of the male. Okay, a male cannot be in a male is not going to want to be in a relationship unless he feels like he's the dominant party. Most likely,
mm,
not going to want to be there. Okay, so
mm,
um, but you have to have a female that understands that dynamic and is willing to participate and show her submission by constantly rea- rea- reaffirming the man's dominance through her femininity. You follow?
mm,
Okay, she has to
mm,
keep reaffirming her femininity is going to keep his dominance flowing, right? Okay, so
mm,
that's when you should be and her femininity is the social proof of her submission. Her femininity always at the same, always a constant femininity and her constant um reaffirmation of the dominance of the men is going to be a social proof of her submission. Like my wife don't have to show me that she submits. She don't have to say, I submit to you. She don't have to come to me every day and say, I submit to you. I submit to you. She don't have to say that. You know what I mean? She just
mm,
does stuff for me that shows me that that's how she feels about me. You know what I mean?
mm,
And so I don't have to say, hey, you got to submit to me. You got to, and I don't have to be like this. Hey, girl, get in here. Do that. Do that. Do that. I don't have to talk like that.
mm,
I don't have to do that. Why? Because I already know she's submitting. She is submit to me. If I need something,
mm,
she'll do it. If you're not, but it's not a submission like I think she's less than me. She's not less than me. She's just playing her position in this situation. You know what I'm saying? If I, like I said earlier, if I go buy a car and she has a degree in finance, me being the leadership, I understand she's got a degree in finance. I'm going to take her with me. I'm going to let her handle that situation. I'm going to let her handle buying a house. If she got a degree in finance, I'm going to let her be the lead in that. Part of being a leader is putting the right soldier at the right position so that they can be successful.
mm,
Okay, so
mm,
because you as the leader, you can't do everything. I can't I can't be everywhere. You know what I'm saying? But you got to put the best person, like a coach. You know, you got to put the best person on the floor at the right time, at the best position, so that they can score. So the team can win, and that's what being a leader. But a lot of guys think they got to be a real like, I'm a man, I'm a man. They feel like they got to do that, and that's unfortunate. So the women see us all to try. They think we all gonna be like that. So that's why they saying I'm not gonna submit to you because I ain't gonna let you talk to me like that, and I don't blame them in that regard. But the real submission is unsaid, man. I don't have to say nothing to my wife. I was
mm,
I was cooking something the other day for them, and because sometimes I like to cook. I used to cook a lot because I like the way I flavor foods, but you know, past couple years or so, they retired me from doing all of that. So they do most of the cooking, but every now and then they'll ask me to cook something. So they asked me to cook something in particular. So I was doing it, and my wife saw me walking around the kitchen, and she said, "Let me get you." I had some socks on. She said, "Let me get you some shoes." I said, "I don't need no shoes. I'm like a man. I don't need no shoes. I'm good." She said, "No, let me bring you some shoes." So I said, "Well, all right." So she brought the shoes, and I said, "Well, you gonna put them on, right? Because that's just the only way I'm gonna take them is you put them on me." She said, "Of course I'll put them on you," and she put them on me. But the point is, she didn't have no problems with submitting to that situation. She just did it because you know why she does. She knows that her submission is not looked down upon. She doesn't look at her submission as a negative. unfortunately, the feminist movement has taught women that submission is a negative thing. You know what I mean? So they don't want to do it. They reject. They buck back on it, and they don't understand that they make relationships. Why so many of their relationships go around. You have to submit to men. You have to submit to a man that you're gonna mate select with if you want him to be in a what you call that monogamous relationship over an extended period of time. If you want monogamy over an extended period of time, you have to submit to this man. If you don't, then you are running the risk of him finding somebody else that's going to submit to him, and that's where your problems will start. Yeah, brother. Brother, you all right? I'm running the show. Am I running the show by myself, brother?
I'm here with you. I'm here with you. I'm here with you. I'm here with you. Sorry about that.
All right, no
My
problem.
my net was kind of going in and out myself. I'm sorry about that.
That's all right, brother.
Seems like we both are having software issues. But
Oh, sorry,
I
man.
will say this though. As far as the women being submissive to men, do you think the women should automatically come in submission and being, how can I say, already come in with femininity off top?
Yes, they should
Mm,
come in being feminine, but the degree of femininity should increase as the commitment increases. You
mm,
follow? The
uh-huh,
degree of femininity should increase. Like you be feminine, always be a lady, but if the more submission should reflect the degree of commitment from the man, right? So if he's somewhat committed, should be feminine, but don't you know you don't have to do the whole yards unless you want to, but you don't have to do the whole 9 yards. You kind of just walk him along and then show him that, hey, at every step, I'm gonna meet you with this femininity. Doing because you always want to be feminine. I don't because masculine on a woman is just not a good look. I'm just saying the degrees
mm,
that you can bump the femininity up because femininity is um femininity is what attracts us. We're attracted to the look, but we also attracted to the femininity. That's what lets us know that this female is available to be dominated. This femininity that this woman is expressing to us, that's letting us know. Just like heat lets a male tiger know that a female tiger is available for the sexual experience. Femininity in our social construct, a woman can't express her um, being interested in you in as a mate select. Uh, so the way they express it is through their femininity. You see them batting their eyes or doing certain things that express that femininity, and so the more that the more of a commitment they get, the more they can turn it on. Right? Here's the problem.
mm,
Here's the problem, Mr. B.
uh-huh,
Some women, instead of using femininity,
uh-huh,
they use sexual tension to attract.
mm,
They use sexual tension.
mm,
Okay, that's where the issue comes up at. Okay, so
mm,
when they use sexual tension, they get a whole nother. They create a whole nother thinking process in the men. Now the man goes, "Oh, if I can have sex with you this quick, everybody probably having sex with you," and they classify you in another category as opposed to a mate. You know what I mean? It's a dance, and everybody's different. Some people they have real good chemistry, but you still want to make sure you take your time to get to know somebody before you just having sex with them because having sex, man, can change your whole life. That 20 minutes can have a that can change your whole life or 2 hours or whatever your your median is. It could change your life. I was just at the barber shop, and a friend of mine and my barber was telling me about his son that him and two other friends they I don't want to say what let's just say they all him and two other his friends had relations with this one girl on the same evening, right? At the same time, right? And the girl said that one of them in particular was the father. She got pregnant, by the way, and she said one of the fellows was in particular was the father of the baby. So uh, the, the the guy's mother came up and said, "Hey, wait a minute, this is not your baby." And he'd been paying child support to this baby for what 3 years or so, 3 or 4 years. He finds out it's not his baby. Now my barber's son, they made everybody take a DNA test, and they found out it was him. And now they taking this money out of his check. But it caught up to him, right? That little bit
Wow.
of fun they had, it caught up to him. And so you got to be careful who you having sex with. You know what I'm saying? You got to be careful. You got to be.
No, no, I feel you. And
And then
brother Clarence, I do apologize, man, for the technical difficulties. I'm right now, man. I was just able to get back on my phone
man,
because
hey, no problem,
yeah,
brother.
my internet's down and the network is definitely trash. So bear with me on that one.
Hey man,
So
no problem. And I appreciate you guys even having me on, man. Appreciate you.
no problem, no problem. Um, one thing I would definitely say is about the just the promiscuity. Um, it does make sense because we're living in a culture where if you scroll down through Instagram, almost like 90% of the women you see are all thoughts, or they have thought tendencies. Even the ones who are married have thought type of movements because unfortunately sex sells. You're shaking your body. You're a married woman, and your husband is allowing you to do that.
Right?
Either he has no self-respect for himself, or he look at you as a moneymaker. And either way, if you look at you like you're just a moneymaker, um, that's still a big problem. To me, that I look at it like it is. Because ultimately it's showing that you really have no value without your body. Your body, if you're using it as a tool, you know, and here's the thing, I'm not hating on no one. I mean, look, if God gave you that cheat code that you could use to make money, go ahead and use it. Do whatever you want to do with it. But don't complain when men are not taking you seriously, ladies, when they're looking at you as a 3 or 4, ladies. So, you put that stuff on yourselves based on the respect level that you have for yourself. So, you know, I
Agreed.
definitely appreciate you for breaking that down. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, got you, brother.
Oh, okay. I
Good,
just
bro.
want to make sure I'm not going in and out. So,
No, you good.
yeah.
Agreed.
Bro, Clarence, there was one more question I was going to ask before I got booted out,
Okay.
but I want to talk about technology a little bit
Okay.
because I feel like technology is a huge thing, and I feel like it really destroyed the the primal instincts, the primal way of mating, of pretty much getting to know the woman.
Right.
Because earlier, I know you mentioned that guys don't really need to go to bars and clubs
No.
or certain events and
Right.
parties to pick up women.
Right.
And I know back then, I mean, back in my dad's younger years, going to the club was always the best way to pick up women.
Right.
And you know what? And this is gonna sound funny, but I feel like with my internet being shut down, my Wi-Fi,
Uh-huh.
I feel like it helped me to talk like just that moment. It helped me talk like some type of lesson a little bit.
Okay.
Because here's the thing: when we have technology that's accessible, there's no need for us to go outside. There's
Right.
no need for us to do anything. Only reason why we're probably going outside is because we want to, because we have to work, you know. And I'm thinking to myself, man, with the internet being shut down, in my area, that was the first thing I thought about. Damn, there's nothing else for me to do, so maybe later I might just go outside or whatever.
Right.
And that's how, like, we used to be, like, as kids. Although we did have our video games, but we didn't have like the Wi-Fi. We didn't have network access to, well, in the year earlier part of our years, to communicate so efficiently with other people, or having like cell phones, at our disposal, and these apps, especially our dating apps. I never used a dating app, before, because my lifestyle was just pretty much old school. You talk, you meet with people, and a lot of times women were more the aggressive ones. I didn't understood why at the time, but now it does make sense because there was more women than men, and at that time, women were super competitive. Now you just have, now not only you have to compete with the women, but you have to. It's like, okay, either you find a way to find your man, or you just go through these social media apps. And so, sorry for being long winded, but I really just think that it really nullifies relationships because of internet dating, these dating apps. What do you think, brother Clarence?
Uh, I think the yeah, I think to a degree, because the problem in relationships is the compromising that most men don't want to do the compromising, and so that's what. And with the internet dating,
Hmm.
you don't have to do all that compromising. You can just date this woman, and then when you get tired of her, you can date another woman. You get tired of her, you can date another woman, and it's so much easier. The access to women is so much. The barrier is so low that you don't have to do hardly anything to be around women. You just sign up for one of these dating apps, and you can have women at your disposal, you know, whatever. You know what I mean? So it's just it's hard. And so and then on top of that, most of us in the black community, we have what, over 70% single parenthood. So I mean, we're just not learning how to stay together. Our grandparents and our parents, they just stuck it out, man. They realized they had a duty, and it was bigger than their they were going to find a way to find their own happiness. But as far as them showing us what they needed, they know we needed to see, as far as a working relationship. That's what they showed us. What they were doing outside of that, it was their business, right? But they showed us what they need to show us. But nowadays, they don't have to show you nothing. You know what I mean? We're not. There's nobody there to show you anything. You know, the women in their 40s are running to the clubs, or they on Instagram trying to, be an Instagram star, and they competing with the 20-year-olds, and they look crazy, and it's just a soup of foolishness, man. And the bottom line is that we are not we are not creating relationships that are like the first business relationship you really need is a male female relationship that you can run. If you can run that right, that's why a
Hmm.
lot of corporations, they don't they don't really usually promote unmarried men to high points in the company. They want a married man. Why? Because they want to see that, can you run this? Can you run a household? Can you run a household with a woman and child and everything like that? Okay, then we see that you can run a household. Okay, now you can stay on top of that situation. Okay, now we're willing to give you the reins over here, right? So that's the thing. Unfortunately for us,
Yes.
so, yeah, that's the thing. Unfortunately for us, is that I went with the women are just not. they're not seeing that the competition for men is so high. They're just outnumbered. They outnumber men so much, and they're overloading all of these dating apps to women. I mean, it's probably what 10 to 1 on these dating apps, 10 women profiles to one male profile. I mean, they're overloading them, and the
Mm.
older you get to the point where you get to the thing. What's the one for old guys like me? Silvers or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Oldpeople.com, right? You get on those dating sites, man, and it probably goes to 20 to 1, right?
Oh
And
man.
so they don't realize that they're so far, the competition is so high, but you know what they always say? I'm not gonna settle. I'm like, it's not that you gotta settle, it's just you gotta just reconstruct your you got to reconstruct what you're looking for, because you're not going to get that at 50 years old or 40 years old. You're not going to get what a 20-year-old is going to get offered,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
I'll say this though, and I'm not gonna like air anyone out, right? Because this is a family member, and
Yeah,
so just in case if like certain someone like have his dates and they're watching this right now. I'm not trying to air him out, so and ruin
yeah,
his
right.
date night, but I know that when it comes to like social media, I think for men who are like in their 50s or above,
Right.
I feel like they have like a super high advantage
Yes.
over the younger people. There's a family member, um, who is above his 60s,
Oh wow.
and he uses he started trying out like dating apps.
Yeah.
Um, Pretty new to technology, but he's pretty keen to it now.
Yeah.
And so, man, he gets like I don't know how it works, even though he showed me a few times, but he gets tons of messages,
Yeah.
like
It's
like
fishing
lots
in
of
a
like
bucket.
yeah. It's like oh man, it's like I'm telling you,
Yeah.
like for a guy, and look, he's established, he's retired, he got his life together, of course. So he has like I think each day, if he really wants to, like he'll have like at least like 20 or 50 women
Yeah.
contacting him.
Yeah.
And this is no lie, like at all. Like
Yeah.
when people talk about numbers, I'm like, whatever, right? Like that's cap. But when I saw it firsthand, I was like, whoa.
Right.
But see, the thing is, it's easier for men in their 50s and up to have success you know in just these dating apps or whatever, is because by then women who are in their 40s, 50s or 40s or whatever, they're desperate and they're looking for a
Uh,
provider. And so, all the younger people who go on there, the men are going to have you're going to definitely have a hard time because you're not the one that women are looking for in these apps. They're looking for someone who's older and who's already established until they get to a point where they get up in their 40s or up, and maybe their body's not looking right as they used to, and they have a bunch of kids and single and alone. So anybody who's willing to pick them up, they're going to be ready. And so it's it's interesting that the old saying, and this probably comes from the manosphere ideologies. Some of these ideologies is true. A woman who's in her prime is always going to have the advantage over
oh
men.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Even if there's more women to men, there's always going to be a bunch of men that's going to be lusting after her, even the older ones.
Agreed.
But when you get up to a certain point of your life where you stop taking care of your body, because your body is your oh gosh, what is it called? It's your commodity. There it is.
Right.
Your body is your commodity. Men has placed a price for your body. So as long as you have a nice looking body, a good pretty face, and a good attitude to match along with that, you're gonna get what you want. You know what I mean? But as you slowly fade back and let that deteriorate, so as your value deteriorates. And then you're going to have to start settling to the point that you're going to be desperate because the attention is going to be far less than what it was before.
Um, agree, mostly. Um, what happens with, especially, I mean, I'm just talking in particular for Black women. What happens with them in particular is that they wait because the feminist dogma has told them that they can wait, and so what they do is they wait. Now, like I was saying before, women of other races are more deliberate when they're mate selecting, right? Black women, they're not mate selecting; they're having casual sex. So it's a difference. It's a difference between that. All right, mate selection, you're looking for somebody to actually spend the rest of your life with, and a lot of times Black women aren't looking for that up until they get to about the age 30, 35. Because why? They've been told, hey, you can ride the carousel and keep riding the carousel, keep riding the carousel, and there'll be somebody who will be waiting to take you and put you in the Maserati and drive off to the sunset with you after you've been used and abused, pumped and dumped. And so that is not the case. That's why women need to understand that you're going to have to be more deliberate out here when you actually trying to get dates. When you trying to mate select, you got to have to be deliberate. Now, if you just want to have casual sex, have at it.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is set up for you to have casual sex. But if you're trying to mate select, you're trying to find a mate to be with you for the rest of your life, somebody that's going to quote unquote grow old with you, then you're gonna have to be more deliberate. Stop listening to the church tell you wait on God's unchanging hand. You're gonna have to get in there. You're gonna have to get up off your prayer rug and go out there and actually go out there and be deliberate. You got to create proximity. You without proximity, you ain't gonna be able to. You saying, well, uh, all the good men, I can't find no good men because you don't know how to create proximity with good men. I tell
Mm-hmm.
women, I've told women many times, go to the golf course, go to the law library, go to the medical building, go to these places that people are trying to learn how to do things that successful men usually are involved with. You got to create this proximity. How you gonna complain that that's like me saying, hey, M3, no models I can't find the right model to date me. And I ain't at no runways. I am not going to no runways. I'm not going to no shoots. I ain't going to no model shoots. I ain't going I got to create the proximity so that at least they'll be around so that I have an opportunity to be able to be around them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the situation. We got to learn how to create proximity on top of all the things you were talking about already, brother.
Right, right. And
Mm.
glad my internet's back up again, so
I
no
don't.
more struggle mobile streaming.
I don't.
Yeah, I've been struggle streaming too this whole time, man. God, leave.
Mm.
I guess they picked the day for us to struggle stream.
Because
See,
I'm
oh,
coming on, brother. I'm coming on. They didn't
Yeah,
want you.
yeah, bro.
They didn't
See,
want this
bro, Clarence,
information
man,
getting
he
out.
came in and crashed the internet 15 minutes prior, man. I tell you, man. Damn. This always look, bro, Clarence, man. Like this always happens for whatever reason. Like like soon as probably like the last 5 minutes of the live stream, soon as we're about to go live, oh, something happens.
Yeah, bro.
StreamYard issues, network issues. Uh, somebody got booted type of issues, and we don't even know how to bring them back. So
We've all had
it's
it
crazy
happen, brother.
sometimes.
We've all had it
Yeah.
happen. Don't even trip.
hmm
Mhm.
We all had it happen.
So welcome to the Struggle Network, y'all. But
man.
but we back though.
Yeah, man.
Now now I know we answered the number 4 question, brother Clarence, but number 5 is what is some advice you will give men about women and vice versa. So, again, what will be the advice that you will give men to help us young guys to understand about women? And what advice will you give women to help them to understand about men? And some of the things you kind of pointed out, you know, it kind of correlates to number five, but I'm gonna let you answer that. You know.
Okay. Um, what I would tell women is that try to maintain your sexual market value as much as you can. You know, and if you do have beings on your sexual market value, and accept it, accept the fact that, hey, you know, maybe my sexual market value ain't as high as I want it to be. What can I do to bump it up? You know what I mean? And
Mm,
you know, so because if you are a single mom, unfortunately, that is the average guy is going to look at that as a problem. So, and so you have to accept that and be able to say, okay, how can I counter that? How can I counterbalance that? Well, you can counterbalance it with your appearance, your attitude, and your femininity. Those are three
mm,
things that are adjustable that you can adjust those things, and so that's what you have to do and make it so that that a man getting involved in that situation, the reward for him is going to be high. The problem with dealing with single moms and single dads is that the reward sometimes is most of the time is not that high for the person that actually gets involved, the person that has no children that gets involved. The reward is not that high, and the relationship usually suffers behind these other issues. But if the woman can counterbalance that, she can make that happen. The next thing I would say is always keep your femininity intact. Men, the average man does not want to be around a masculine woman. Unfortunately, this is where body count comes in. When you get a high body count, what happens is that men are depositing essence into the woman, and the woman is absorbing this essence from different men. Now the woman has different essence from different men in her system, and that essence is creating issues for the brain. So now the brain has to deal with this set of essence, and it got to deal with that set of essence. Got to deal with this set of essence, and so it doesn't just naturally come out of the body. It may retain in the body, right? So that's why I say you need to get a cleanse. If you really want to mate select with somebody, see, it's a choice. What you want to do. You want to mate select or do you want to just have casual sex? If you're just trying to have casual sex, there's no point in getting the cleanse because you're just gonna get get your club shot up over and over again, right? So the cleanse doesn't it makes no sense. Cleanse is for when you decide for yourself, hey, I want to have a clean space for somebody to lay their uh lay their seed in. Okay, so I want I want a clean place for him to lay his seed. I'll have to go get this body, total body cleanse at the cellular level. You can be a cellular virgin, but you can't, you can't be a virgin, but you could be a cellular virgin, which is almost as good, right? Their
mm,
mind will clear, everything will clear up, and their health will improve everything. As far as men have to, uh, you got to look for red flags. Men are not good at and address them. When you see them, address them. Will Smith saw a lot of red flags and he didn't address them. And now, 30 years
mm,
later, he's in the situation he is now, where he's in bondage. Spiritually, he's in bondage. The guy can't even, he's in so much pain. He goes up and assaults somebody on national TV.
Mm.
That is not where you want to be. That is not where you want to be. So be honest with yourself. I don't care how good this girl looks. You got to look for red flags.
Mm.
Like for example, mental illness. You have to look for this stuff. Mental illness.
Mhm.
Some of these people they have gotten away with. They know how to operate
Manipulate.
in the world where um, they can hide it. They can
Mhm.
hide this stuff. so you won't see it. So they'll hide it from you because they want to get you to sign on the dotted line. So they'll hide this stuff. You have to look at it. And what is a a major a clear sign that there's something wrong is incompetence, is blatant incompetence. When you see that they can't do simple things, that blatant incompetence, that'll let you know there might be some mental illness there, right?
Mm.
The next thing is rebelliousness. You do not want to rebel in your camp, right?
Yep.
You don't want to rebel. Why? Because a rebel is not going to teach your children what your program. She's going to teach your children her program. And her
Mm.
program might not be as good as your programs, probably won't be, right? Especially if you have male children. So you want somebody teaching your program. So you don't want to you do not want to rebel in your house because they will not be they will just not understand. They're going to take everything personally that you say to them. That's
Mm.
pushing back on things that they trying to do.
Mm.
That's what I would say. Look for red flags, which the most common of them being mental illness, and the second most common is blatant incompetence. Once you see those two things, those are two things you should look for in business partners, and you should look for in relationships. If you see either one of those things in a business, like you about to do business with somebody, and you see
Mhm.
they're blatant incompetent, do you really want to put some money and time and effort working with somebody who's blatantly incompetent? I don't think so. Same thing in a
That's a good way
relationship,
to put it.
huh?
So that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, man.
Why do you feel like men have a hard time addressing the issues, bro, Clarence?
Because women have an ability to create sexual tension, and so what the average woman will do that has these issues, they know already. They've been through this. They've been through the rodeo already, so they know what to do to blind shield your eyes from it. They will increase the sexual tension. See, you start focusing on the red flags. What they do is they bump up the sexual tension. So now you focused on the sexual tension instead of the red flags, and you keep going for that, falling for that over and over again. Next thing you know, you're in a relationship that is horrible. You're in a bad spot, right? But see, you've seen all these red flags.
Mm.
They all over the place. They've been right in front of you the whole time. But that's where men get caught up because they start following the sexual tension instead of saying, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. This is crazy. I told this girl that I was going to be here at 5 o'clock to have this meal ready for me at 5 o'clock. It's and I'm here at 5 o'clock and she ain't even got started on it. What's the issue? What's the problem? What is the problem? See what I'm saying? You got to look at stuff like that. Like a lot of people don't look at stuff like that. I do. I'm very observant. You know what I mean? I don't say a lot. I watch. I do more watching than I do talking. And I'm observant. So if I say, hey, I want this done and it's not done by that time, I just say, oh, okay. Is this the kind of person I want to do business with? I, Case in point, I was going to do business with somebody.
Hmm.
And this person said, I'm gonna call you on this day. They didn't call me. About a week later, they gave me a text message. Hey, I just got caught up doing this or that or whatever, you know. So, but I'll call you on this other day. I said, oh, okay. I said, well, maybe we can still make it work. So that day came and they didn't call me. And that's when I said, okay, this is not gonna work. And I like this person. I said, you know what? I'd rather keep the friendship like Rick Rubin and Russell Simmons. Hey, let's just part ways as friends instead of staying business partners and hating each other. So that's where I was at. I said, okay, I don't want to not like this person. So let me just not go into business. Since I see how they are, they don't respect me enough to call me when they said they're gonna call me. Because that's the way I look at it. If you could say you're gonna call me at a certain time and you don't call me, then I feel like, okay, this is what you think about me. Okay, so now that I know that, whose responsibility is it to take care of me? mine, right?
Mm-hmm.
I put myself in a bad situation. You know what I'm saying? If you want to take me out on a voyage in the ocean and I see holes in the boat already, and you know, then you got the person is like, hey, come on the boat. But I'm like, hey, you got holes in the boat. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. There's holes in the boat, but we got good food. I'm not going for that no more. Well, y'all have a good trip out there.
Yeah.
But we get focused on other issues, man. The bottom line is we get focused on the sexual tension, and unfortunately, we get caught up in the sexual tension, and we close our eyes to the red flags, and then that's where the problems come up, i.e., Will Smith and Kanye West.
One thing I want to point out, right? This is what it brings back some funny memories because what women will do, brother Clarence, when let's just say like a woman gets complacent, so she doesn't have to like try to look her best. But the moment you guys part ways or you guys take a long break, you know what they'll do, especially like if you're at a fixed location and you know you'll see her, but you're not going to pay much attention to her. They'll get all dolled up. They'll fix their hair. You know, they will look like the best that they'll look the best when you first met them. You know what I mean? Just
Yes, sir.
to just to get your attention, basically. And most men, will cave into that because now, like, because they know we fall in love with our eyes. Just like women, they fall in love with their ears. You want to bring a woman back, you know, all you got to do is say things that will make her feel good about herself for the moment to get her a break. Same thing for us. It's easier. All they have to do is just put on some whatever, a nice tight clothes, a good fit, get their body right, get their hair, especially if they have long, natural looking hair. I'm not talking about the weaves or whatever, but beautiful hair. Oh, it's a wrap. Man will cave in a minute, pretty much. And all will be forgiven. So it was good that you kind of point that out there because ultimately,
Well, Clarence, you're
um,
muted. You're muted.
It's sad.
yeah,
Sad.
because ultimately they just want attention.
Yeah, man, that's what they want. That's ultimately what they want. The promiscuity is the vehicle for their attention. The IG is their vehicle for their attention. Facebook is their vehicle for attention, and everything is just vehicles for attention. That's what they
Mm,
ultimately want. And sex is ultimately a vehicle for attention. They want attention. They want to be reaffirmed that they are desired, right? That's what women want to be desired. Well, we all want to be desired, but women have an innate um, hypergamous desire to be desired. It's hypergamous.
mm-hmm.
They feel they have a need to they have to fulfill a purpose, which is to procreate, and to do that, they must be desired. So they
Yeah.
feel out of pocket when they're not desired, when the desire for them is not high. They don't realize it has nothing to do with the see, you can't shame men into desiring you, which is what they do a lot of times nowadays because they don't understand that the marketplace is so skewed because of the high volume of women that's available out there as opposed to the low volume of available men. The marketplace is skewed. It's a buyer's market for the men. The men don't have to do as much anymore. Plus, like we said before, the barriers to accessing women are so low now. You don't even have to get off your couch, and you can set up dates for a month if you want to, right? If you're on
Mm-hmm.
enough apps, you can set up dates for a month. So not really that difficult to get to date women anymore. It's absolutely very easy, right? But women don't understand the shifting in the
Hmm.
marketplace. They still feel like, hey, I, you know, they feel like it's a problem with the men. And it's not a problem with the men, it's a problem with the marketplace. The marketplace is going to it's just like any other marketplace. When the supply is high and the demand is low, the price is going to drop on the supply. The price is going to drop. So what has happened to women is the demand is so low that and the supply is so high that and the access is so easy. The value of women, the value of
Hmm.
women, not only bad women but good women, has gone down because there's so many of them out there, and they don't know how to compete with each other. They don't know how to compete, right? They feel like, hey, I'm just gonna get on the dating app, and that's me competing. You can't do that no more. That's out. Women getting on dating apps and thinking they're gonna find Mr. Right, that's over. That's over. That was in the beginning when the stuff first started. Now that's
Hmm.
out. You have to compete on a whole nother level now. So
All right, well,
that was what I was
bro, mhm. Well, brother Clarence, then, now, will you say that for average men, average looking men, average working men, do they have a chance
telling.
to get on dating apps? And I'm talking about like, you don't you don't have to be a guy. You know, when I mean average, I mean just completely average. You have an average body type.
Yeah,
You're not muscular.
yeah,
You're not the tallest guy, the most good looking guy,
yeah.
and so and you're in your 30s. So the guys who are in their 30s and are very very average, do they have a better chance on a dating app versus talk to a woman out in the streets?
Yeah. I mean, statistically, you can contact many more women on dating apps than you can on the street, right? I mean, you can talk to probably you can message 20 or 30 different women in one day, as opposed to how you gonna do that on the street nowadays.
Mm.
Very difficult, right? So
Hmm.
yes, I believe they have and they have the advantage. They have the advantage because the men today are scarce. It's been flipped. Men are the scarce ones. Men are in scarce, and but the men don't recognize that, right? Because women have a weapon that they use, which is to shame you into shaming us as men into desiring uh, what we used to consider as undesirable for mate selection, right? Women of a certain girth, women of a certain attitude, women of a certain behavior. Now they have a weapon called shame. They could shame you into you. This is what you need to find this attractive. They don't realize that arousal is determined by the buyer, right?
Hmm.
Arousal is determined by the buyer. Arousal, you can't come in and say, I'm going to determine what's going to arouse you. No, either you arouse me or you don't, right? I determine
Hmm.
what arouses me. But that's what they're doing. They're trying to use shame to shift men into accepting certain things that we have categorically not accepted as um, desirable. They're trying to shift our thinking into saying, well, this is desirable and you should want to be with that just because I going to shame you into wanting to be with that. When men categorically have not wanted women that were
Mm.
of a certain girth. They have categorically not wanted women that were of a certain behavior, meaning very masculine behavior women. They haven't wanted women that were of a certain uh, uh, using a certain had a foul mouth or certain types of behavior. We haven't wanted women like that. But a lot of times in today's modern space, they tell women to be like that because you're a boss chick, right? Nobody wants to marry a boss chick. They'll, you know, they'll roll around in the hay with them, but they won't marry them. And so somewhere in women's mind, they confused guys being in their DMs with marriage proposals. I got all these guys in my DMs, yeah, because they're trying to sleep with you. Which one of them has offered you a marriage proposal? I've been to outfit marriage proposals and I turned them down. Obviously, they weren't. It wasn't good marriage proposals, right? If they were good marriage proposals, you would have accepted them, right?
Or marriage proposals with stipulations. Maybe they wanted you to. Maybe they wanted the women to do something that they didn't want to do, and that's how they get that little bluff. That, oh yeah, I turn plain on them, or they could just be capping. Because let's just be honest, most of them will lie to you, and you will never know.
Women,
Yeah,
yeah, oh yeah, man. That's why asking them about their body counts and all that's a waste of time, really. They can say
hmm
any arbitrary number. What difference is it going to make, right?
yeah,
What difference is it going to make? Who cares? Make them do a cleanse. That way, once they do a cleanse, they can reduce that number to zero. Give their body time to
mm,
recover from all of that damage. You're going to have a better person.
right.
It's not all over.
And,
Oh, go ahead, brother.
and you know, and it makes sense to why a lot of them will infiltrate the men's space and platforms just to try to tell us how wrong we are
Yeah,
to speak the truth about them.
yeah,
See, I'm not even gonna repeat what the things that they say when when they feel like we're talking bad about them. It's not that we're talking bad about them. We're finally speaking our truth.
yeah.
Isn't that what the ladies want us to say? They want us to be in tune with our
No,
feelings and emotions.
no,
They want us to be
no,
expressive about ourselves.
no,
Baby, tell me how you feel. How you really feel?
no.
Well, I
They
feel
don't.
like this, and that.
No, they don't want you to do
You know,
that.
cancel.
No, not at
And
all.
so, it's social media. I mean, look, it could be detrimental, but it also has its benefits because without social media like YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and I guess maybe Twitter, some of these other platforms, you would not really hear a lot of men speak out about the things that they're going through. Don't always have to be about women, but it could be about their personal lives. Now, men will never be allowed to speak the truth on mainstream media because that's the woman space.
Correct.
Okay, women control that market because
Absolutely
they are the highest consumers.
correct.
So, you know, and the other side of the community as well too. So you can't even step foot in that platform to speak against them without being shamed or canceled. Bless you.
Correct.
And so, but you could have your voice somewhat on social media. Now
Correct.
they were still trying to find a way to cancel you, but it's really funny that whenever you speak something that goes against their ideologies and the way they think, they'll be quick to come to your platform and say all these things and try to argue down, and tell you how you should run your live streams.
Yeah.
Okay, but you know, no,
I
I don't
had
see no other
somebody,
guy
man.
come. Yeah,
Well, let me
go
say
ahead,
this.
Clint.
I had somebody.
Mhm,
I had a person that I thought a lot of.
mhm,
This person I thought a lot of, man. And so this person said, I have a problem. I've been disrespected. And I said, okay. And so I said, well, show me where you were disrespected. So this person tried to show me where they were disrespected. They gave me all these different places where they were disrespected on the live stream. But I only found one place where they were disrespected, where I felt like they had a point. So I said to this person, I said, okay, because I went back and looked at the live stream, and I said, okay, what would you like me to do? Now I'm just talking, just this person's a female. So
mhm.
instead of saying, Clarence, I would like you to do X, A, B, C, D, and E, the person said, well, you should know what you need to do. And I said, what do you mean? I said, I don't know what you want me to do. What do you want me to do about this? And that person kept telling me, You should know what you should do. You should know, and you know, brother, I've been married for 33 years, brother. I've been through that. I've been through the whole. I'm not gonna tell you just guess game. I've been through that already, right? Me and my wife we've already put that to bed, right? So I've been through that already. And so I was trying to explain to this person, hey man, you know, let's not play no games. If you want me to take some action, what action do you want me to take? And they said, well, if you was really trying to do something for me, you would know what to do. Kind of like this Jada Smith type of thing. So I said, okay, I'll tell you what. When you're ready to tell me what you want to have happen, just let me know. And this person got mad at me. This female got mad at me. And so, but you know what? I look at it as better off. Let me tell y'all something, man. Y'all young guys, so I'm gonna tell you real quick.
Yes, sir.
Rejection is God's intervention into your affairs to help you. Being rejected, man. That's God stepping in there saying, I'm gonna help you cut this loose because this person this is gonna eventually go bad. Right?
Yeah.
This is gonna eventually go bad. So I'm gonna step in there. So my point is, you know, a lot of times, unfortunately, the tactics that women use are manipulation and shame. They try to shame you into a position and then manipulate you from there. And that's what this person was trying to do to me. They were trying to manipulate me and they were trying to shame me. They were blaming me for something somebody else did. Instead of addressing that person, they were coming to me, right? That's why when I start my live streams now and I take people on, I say, hey, I don't want to be responsible for nothing no one said or nothing. If you don't feel strong enough to deal with it, don't come on my live stream. Don't go in the chat. Don't be on the don't do it. Cause that way you ain't got to come run to me because you guys know, right? You're running a live stream, you're doing a lot of stuff, right? You might be researching, you might be looking into the camera, but you on whole nother screen, right? You might be doing a whole you watching the chat, you watching it, you trying to listen to the panelists, you trying to make sure you got another question for them, right? So you trying to do a lot of different things. But this person, I kept explaining that to this person, and this person was like, wasn't having it. Because they was ultimately trying to manipulate me. Now here's the point. They separated from me. They said, "Okay, I got you," and they said, "I'm they basically told me, "Hey, I'm gone. I was one of your biggest supporters, and now I'm not one of your biggest supporters." Now I looked at it like this. I looked at it like this. Okay, if that's how you feel, then good. Good. I'm glad you feel that way. I'm glad you feel that way. You should stay that way. But that's just letting me know that you leaving now is a good thing because I don't want you to leave later. And then we have a deeper connection. And then you try to leave later. I'd rather you leave now. If you're gonna try to manipulate me and you're gonna try to shame me into doing something instead of just saying straight out, hey, brother, can you do this? Can you handle this way? Anyway, just letting y'all know that. Anyway, brothers, what I'm gonna do right now, man? I'm gonna switch to my phone. So can you guys give me about 3 or 4 minutes to switch to my phone?
Yes, sir.
And I'll
not a problem.
back in unless you guys are done.
Let me see. Let me see. Did we get to?
I think we got
We
one
only
more
just have
question.
one last question, but
okay, let me see if I can knock it out real quick in 5 minutes.
yeah. The last question is: what is the one or several things you would like to know about women for yourself? If there's anything that you want to ask women about them, what is the one thing or several?
Um, it's not. I don't really have a bunch of questions. I think I pretty much got women down pat. I don't really. There's nothing that they do that I'll be like, oh my god, I can't believe she did that. You know what I mean? I pretty much understand how they think because I have accepted their hypergamous nature. I've accepted that. A lot of men haven't accepted that, right? They think women are doing things like with the intent of doing harm. Women are doing these things with the intent of creating mischief and doing harm, right? Most of the time they're not. They can't help themselves. Their hypergamous nature tells them to try to find the most aggressive, the most dominant, the most resource-based male in their proximity. Even if that guy is selling drugs or or scamming, they want the best. They want the best of the best, quote unquote, right? And in their eye, through their hypergamous eyes, this person with all these resources is a better fit for them than a regular guy like myself, right? I understand that. I've accepted that. The problem with men is most men have not accepted that. They think that women are doing something purposely are walking away from good dudes on purpose, and it's not the purpose. It's the hypergamous nature that they have that is difficult for them to fight. Hold on.
Bro. Oh, you're on mute, bro, Clarence.
Oh, I say I'm gonna have to shut it down.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, man. But I
Well, bro.
think. Oh, go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say like, well, bro, Clarence, like we thank you, man, for allowing us to give you the interview, allowing us to like have the live talks and good conversations and learn from you. So, we don't want to hold up too much of your time, so that's why we just want to get the last question out of the way for you.
Okay, no problem, man. Thank you guys for having me. I hope that you guys will allow me to interview you, man. You guys will come to my panel. I know that, man. My panel's hot, but you guys, I want to invite you guys over, man.
Hey, me and the crew will be more happy to join you for that. Me, Best, DJ Eddie King, and the other squad as well too. But yeah, just let us know.
Okay. All right, then, y'all. I'm going to sign off, man. I appreciate you. Thank you. Shout out to Knowledge in the Relationships, the whole Knowledge Relationships family. Mr. Best, M3.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate y'all. Thanks for having a brother
Appreciate
on.
you too, family.
And I'll see y'all in the streets, man. And like you did, Mr. B stayed on me about this interview, right? So I'm gonna stay on y'all about the interview too, brother. I'm gonna stay on y'all. All right, man. I'll see y'all. And to the rest of y'all, everybody in the chat, appreciate y'all. Brother Truth, thank you for always coming through. Appreciate y'all, man. And we'll see y'all in the YouTube streets. Peace.
Yes, definitely follow his YouTube channel, y'all. All right. So with that being said, this was definitely a good interview. Again, I apologize everybody for the technical issues, but you learned something from it, man. Yes, and Truth, thank you for tuning in as well too for your support. So
yeah, man. Truth.
All right. Well, with that being said, everybody, we are out, and you already know best in the world. I'll hit you up later on. So
yeah,
let me go ahead and find the outro because that's always the most frustrating part. Anyways, okay, cool, found it. All right, later, everyone.